Hello 2025. I'm rocking a tan in January and about to lose my voice. What the hell is going on? Stay tuned and find out. Hello everyone and thank you for joining me for the January 2025 edition of our Greater Vancouver Market update. Our goal is always to bring you unspun, unbiased analysis of the Greater Vancouver housing market. If you enjoy these videos and find them informative, please hit that like button, drop us a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss out on any future episodes. All right, let's start off with the sales figures for last month, which came in at 1,765 total transactions. Boy, my voice is not doing well today. This was a fairly significant 19% decrease from the month of November, but a very common drop-off at this time of year. December and January are typically the slowest months of the year when it comes to real estate activity. From a historical perspective, however, last month mirrored what we saw in terms of sales figures for the year as a whole, with December numbers being nearly 15% below the 10-year average for the month, a trend that we've basically seen over the last 12 months or so. But when you look at it on a year-over-year basis, this past December sales figures were 31.2% higher than what we saw in December of 2023. And that's why anecdotally, you may have heard that last month was actually not too bad in terms of market activity. Next, let's look at the inventory numbers, which also dropped to 10,122 total listings for the month. This represented a 23.6% drop from the month of November. And once again, to be expected, sellers typically don't want to be bothered with having their property on the market over the holidays and during a slower time of year where they really don't have much leverage, even if they were to get an offer. So with inventory tightening up a little bit more than the contraction in sales volume, our months of inventory came down by 0.4 MOI to 5.7 months of inventory, creeping back into that 4 to 6 range that is typically associated with a balanced market. And in balanced markets, there isn't much push or pull on prices in either direction. The board's home price index reflected this as well and remained unchanged at 1.17 million. Prices, according to GVR's proprietary pricing model, have now been flat for 3 consecutive months. And this flat trend in prices does lend itself into this narrative that the market has bottomed out for this cycle and is looking poised to turn around and for prices to start, at least slowly, heading in the opposite direction. All right, that's it for the stats portion of the update. Keep a lookout for our editorial segment dubbed Boots on the Ground, where I will get into a 2024 year in review. Unless, of course, you're watching this on YouTube, in which case that portion of the update starts now.
These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do.
Well, here we are. A new year is upon us, which means yet another is in the rear view mirror. So what the hell happened in 2024 anyway? Well, the year started off with optimism, as every year usually does. There was much hype within the industry that any month now, we will see the Bank of Canada finally relinquish their chokehold on Canadian borrowers by lowering interest rates. It had been nearly 2 years since our central bank began their quantitative tightening policy and started raising interest rates at the fastest pace ever recorded in Canadian history. That first rate hike took place in March of 2022 after all. Surely Canadians had felt enough pain. And with this anticipation of lower rates being just around the corner, market activity got off to a pretty good start in early 2024. But then the late January rate announcement came and rates remained the same. Then the March announcement came and once again, rates remained unchanged. And this is when it felt like the air went completely out of the balloon. Spring break hit and things went quiet. Not unusual for that week or two as people focus on family, but it literally felt like everyone went on spring break and no one came back. Despite all the hype about lower rates being around the corner, the Bank of Canada did not announce their first rate drop until June 5th of 2024, nearly halfway through the year. At this point, there was a real sense that many folks who were struggling and waiting for some much needed relief from the Bank of Canada simply felt defeated. Sentiment went from interest rates are about to start dropping, yay, to what's a 0.25% rate drop going to do? We are screwed. And then, of course, with the first rate drop coming in June, we were heading right into the dog days of summer, where activity in the market is only marginally better than that at the lowest points of the winter months. But it was throughout this time that rates continued coming down. June rate drop, July rate drop, September rate drop. Now all of a sudden, people were doing that eyes emoji. In real life, maybe, just maybe, we can stop this locomotive and start reversing course in the right direction. And this is exactly when things started to turn. October sales figures jumped nearly 32% on a year-over-year basis. November sales jumped 28%. Whoa, that voice of mine. And December sales were up over 31%. Was it a blip on the radar, or are we ready to call this a trend? Despite the late surge, 2024 was a tough year for many when it comes to real estate, both consumers and those in the industry alike. All in all, there was a total of 26,561 transactions throughout Greater Vancouver last year. How does this compare to other years? Well, it's nearly 21% below the 10-year average. But more interestingly, it's only 1.2% higher than 2023, which, when you consider the mini tear we've been on in October, November, and December, this speaks volumes to just how slow the first 3 quarters of the year really were. Which brings us to what's to come in 2025. If there were no other external factors, I would say we are in for a very active market in the year ahead. I wouldn't say prices are going to start going crazy, but I think there will be a lot of activity. There was a huge number of people that have been waiting on the sidelines for nearly 2 years, waiting for things to turn around. And with prices having leveled off for 3 consecutive months and all indications that interest rates will continue falling, the market should be fairly strong, right? Well, like I said, if there were no other external factors involved. But the Canadian economy is clearly in trouble. We are facing tariffs, the possible, although unlikely, annexation by our neighbors to the south, falling rents, lowering immigration targets, and the condo crash in the GTA, a falling dollar. The list goes on and on. Despite all of this, I do believe there's a high probability that we will experience a positive bump in the market this coming year. But let's face it, it's a crapshoot. If I tried to sit here and tell you with even half certainty as to what is going to happen with everything that's going on in the world, I might as well try to sell you a bridge. At the end of the day, I would just say don't overthink it. There are factors at play that are unpredictable and out of our control. Maybe it's about time we start treating real estate as it was meant to be treated, as shelter and a roof over our head. And no matter what happens politically, with interest rates, or with whatever else, if you approach buying and selling real estate from a genuine standpoint of what is the best course of action for my shelter needs, that is how I truly believe you will always come out ahead. All right, that's it for me for this month. Thank you all for your support over the last year, and I look forward to bringing you more unbiased, unspun analysis of the Greater Vancouver housing market in the year to come. Take care, everyone.